Now, a group of top footballers are planning to come out as gay next month. The group has made plans to publicly declare their sexual orientation on the 17th of May, which is the International Day Against Homophobia.
That's right. German news outlets are reporting that all of the players' clubs are aware of the planned proposal. So joining us live from Sunningdale is award-winning football journalist Harry Harris. Good morning, Harry. Good morning, good to see you. Some people are getting in touch with the programme this morning and saying, why does this matter? We don't care anymore. We live in enlightened times. It's not the 1960s. Nobody cares if footballers are gay.
Yeah, well, a few might, but you can see why footballers, particularly in this country, are fearful of coming out as gay, and I'm sure there's quite a few of them who are gay. But, they would suffer a deluge of social media abuse. They would have to face the stigma and the fear of what the fans' reactions would be, the taunts from the fans, opposing fans in particular. All that kind of reaction is so negative, even in an era where we have so much inclusion, not enough in my view, but we have some, is a deterrent for anyone to come out as gay here.
Harry, do our football authorities need to do more to stamp out homophobia, maybe in the same way they currently do with racism?
Well, football authorities, we've gone down that track before. Who actually runs the game? Who's really dictating?
Well, say the Premier League, for example.
Well, exactly. Point in question. They're not running the game. They're just out for their own needs within the 20 clubs which actually run the Premier League. So these kind of issues, we're talking about a government football regulator. That's the kind of thing Harry, that we really need in football.
Sorry to interject. My point being, they still take the knee for Black Lives Matter, which, is a campaign that wants to defund the police, bring down the West, is against capitalism. They still do that. So they've got the will and the means to keep that campaign going. Under the guise of stopping racism. Of course we all want that. Why can't we do it with homophobia, which some would argue is a more pressing issue?
Well, because even with racism taking a knee, a lot of people think that's a total waste of time now. It really isn't. There's no one really running the game. The FA, the Premier League, they're both at each other's throats. What we need is someone to actually implement some positive policies. And it's really just down to individual clubs that are doing it.
It is fascinating, Harry, that football remains the last bastion, doesn't it, really, of homophobia. I mean, we live in, as I say, very enlightened times. You just don't even raise an eyebrow anymore about somebody's sexuality. And yet football does still feel like the one place that players are frightened to come out. Indeed. Why is that?
Well, you're absolutely right. But I'll give you a little exclusive. I was researching my book about racism in particular, and I spoke to the West Ham owner and chairman, David Sullivan. And this is why some people are enlightened. I asked him about Thomas Hasselberger, who, of course, was the first came out gay in this country, a German international footballer, and asked him, did he know he was gay before he signed him? And he said, yes, I invited him to my home for a party, and I asked him outright why he didn't have a girlfriend, and he confessed to me that he was gay. I have liberal views. He could see I had liberal views. I was comfortable with it. I knew he was gay, and I signed him. But that isn't a universal policy within football. It's just David Sullivan was very much like Alan Sugar. He's very gruff, but he's very direct. But he has some great views about the game, and people like that, in fact, should be running the game. But at the moment, no one's running the game. So asking for these kind of policies is just, sky in the pie.
Because often, I'm thinking of other sports as well, like Olympic sports maybe, where there weren't athletes out for many years as being gay. Tom Daley came out as gay. Mark Foster, the swimmer, also came out as gay. It feels like in those sports, it did take a very long time. They were worried about brands dropping them maybe. But we just don't live in that age anymore. I don't think Nike, Adidas, any of the sports brands would be...
I think it would be a benefit
exactly.
from a marketing perspective.
Well, you look at David Beckham and his allegiance, or sometimes non-allegiance when he goes out to Qatar, but whatever it is, he had some support for what we're talking about, and it wasn't detrimental to his brand at all. No, I think you think we're in an enlightened age, but in football, it's still the dark ages.
Extraordinary. Well, this is happening in Germany, Harry, isn't it? And it may, who knows, start a domino effect of other professional leagues around the world. Making these players come out in the same way. Harry Harris, award-winning.
I wouldn't count on it in this country, though.
No, you might be right. I thought it would, but having spoken to you, you know a lot more about football than I do, Harry. Let me tell you, you might be right. Thank you.
Thanks, Harry. It is such a shame because I personally know of many backroom staff at Premier League clubs, even some players who are gay. The staff, the clubs, the people who work in the clubs have no problem with it. Why should they? I think the issue is the terraces. I live in Brighton. I've seen quite a few Brighton Hove Albion games. Of course, a city with a big gay demographic. They call it the gay capital of Europe. And the chants from fans to Brighton fans at Brighton games are, quite frankly, disgusting. Homophobic chanting pretty much week in, week out. So I think that's where the issue is. It's the fear from the terraces.
Amazing.